2017, the Bureau of Aviation has stated that we need to have a proper fuel shutoff. What that means, if there's a fuel spill out there, how do you shut the power off and stop that fuel? Well, the fuel button we have is right there on the post. If you've got fuel that's on fire. So for years, it's just a matter of $500 to $1,000, we could have put one here. That is going to be coming in this new fuel thing because NFPA 407 requires that, okay? And it's been totally ignored since at least 2011. I've been going back through and all these things that we should be doing, we're trying to bring everything into compliance. So that's my little speech.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put my pitch in right now. I think it needs a roof over it to protect those in the long run. I'm not trying to step on Don's
No,
toes. I'm a guy that thinks it.
Aren't they stainless steel, some of the pumps? Aren't they stainless steel?
I understand, Jim, but the sun is very harsh on that stuff. And the more protection we can put on top of it, the longer our stuff lasts. So,
I put a system in for the state a few years back, and we had to put a roof over it.
just,
They come to the state and told us we had to.
yeah, just the rubber hoses alone exposed to the sunlight, it just deteriorates that stuff like you don't believe. So,
Right, and so the thing is,
it's a good investment, I think.
so we just have to know the right way to do it, that we don't cause, in other words, a wingtip having an issue, height and all this type of stuff. That has not been fully investigated yet. We're looking into pros and cons and what can we do.
If you put a canopy over it or a roof, do you think it'll have to be moved from its present location?
No.
No. Let me just briefly tell you, the fuel upgrade here is our tanks are fantastic. They're fine, okay? Yes, they may be older, but they're the best tanks that they could have bought at the time. Our pumps, our dispensers are still fine. There are submersible pumps that are in the tanks. So basically what we're doing is all the electronics that runs the pump system, the sensor systems that tell you whether is there water in the gas or did something leak, and all that type of stuff.
Do you know what the age of the tanks are?
1995, I believe, is when this was installed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hold it,
Mr. Elliott's been raising his hand for quite a while.
Thank you.
Can we take his comment?
Oh, I
please?
thought you already did, okay.
Oh, no, I was just talking about Don's thing. Don, first I want to thank you for having a technical mind. It's nice that somebody on the board does. I think you do an excellent job. And then secondly, does the airport have any list of rules or ordinances that people that come to the airport have to follow? Even airplane hangar owners? Any rules or ordinances?
There are things that has been put in place ahead of time, like hangar leases, some of the requirements of that. I don't know that I have all that information because of the previous administration. I've got a few bits and pieces and stuff. As far as, let's just say most aviators know what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
You know, it happens sometimes that people drive out here, well, you're not supposed to do that. When I talked about security, that is another thing that we are going to look into one of these days because technically, security might mean that we put a fence across here. So when people come to visit, they can't drive their vehicles out here and walk into
Yeah.
an airplane. I will tell you this, that, and I'm not, Keith was gonna get his chance here to fill in. This is my layman type of thing. We do have things that you don't go running around and.
Yeah. Yeah, don't carry weapons or anything like that.
I don't know of any of that type of stuff. It's just a standard thing that you would do just to be a, what do I want to say, proper respect, the proper attitude that you would give to any individual.
Okay.
Weapons are accepted any place except those places which are posted. No firearms allowed.
Thank you.
Keith, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, sir.
Mr. Russell.
Mr. Russell?
I'm going to speak as a pilot. In 2011, two guys were killed trying to find the airport. 1 month prior to that, the instructor that was killed and I and the student that was killed flew to Leesburg, Virginia to drop the We got down, landed, kicked him out, learned that the fuel pumps had closed 15 minutes before we arrived at 6 p.m. I was under a half a tank of fuel in the old airplane. I knew I couldn't make it home, but I thought I could get up to just below Pittsburgh. So we took off, flew there. It was about 10 o'clock at night, landed hoping to get fuel. Got down, we were under a quarter of a tank in each side. I was scared. We got down, pumps were locked tight as a drum. No getting fuel. Greg, Dale Stearns and I thought, there's only one thing we can do. I'm not trusting the gauges. We dipped both tanks, had about 16 gallons still on board. Felt it was safe enough to fly up to Johnstown, which we did, landed, got fuel, then flew home. I went to the people that were in charge of the airport at the time and asked, listen, in light of what just happened to me, this is the most frustrating, scary thing that a pilot can possibly endure is running out of fuel and not being able to get fuel. I started asking them, I was told no, we're keeping it locked up. I was one of the guys that went to the city manager and asked, listen, whenever you take over, can you please install a 24-hour system that will allow a pilot to save himself from having to make the hard call of, do I take off and risk my life, or do I just pile up in this airplane for the night? So,
Mr.
as
Russell,
a pilot, I am incredibly grateful to everyone that was involved in getting the 24 credit card system working. 24 hours a day is vitally important to guys that are flying long distances from point A to point B, and the headwinds were too strong, and they need fuel, and they need it now. So, thank you.
Mr. Russell, you've been heard, and hopefully this summer we'll be installing that.
It's a comfort to a lot of people. A lot of guys have flown in here and said, hey, I need fuel. That place is locked up. What can I do? I can call it home.
You make an excellent point. I will say this, and I've said this, ask Don, he's tired of me saying it. Nobody ever landed at an airport with the intention of getting fuel that doesn't sell fuel. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? It needs to be available. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't you? So, it's a good idea.
Yes. Thank you again.
Especially you get up into this area, the further north you go, the darker it gets on the ground, the less places there are to get fuel.
Okay. Any other comments? Thank you all for coming out here tonight. It is now 7:25. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
I'm in favor. How about you, Gil?